Ah, okay. Hi there, folks. Welcome to today's Human Music live stream. And today we have something special here for you. This is a new synthesizer by Erica Synth, the Steampipe. And it's a wonderful. I've been bugging Geertz from Erica Synth for a while for him to send me one. Models, which is just that this says mod control over here, and it's actually a gain or volume control. So I have a rarity. I have a prototype, which is super cool. So where should I put this? We'll put this camera right here for now. And I have hooked it up to my Linstrument. See the Linstrument. Oh wow, we can already hear it. So I had just sort of set it up. I didn't realize that already making sound and everything. So this is the instrument, and it's a multi-expression MIDI controller, which is suitable for MPE, which is multi-polyphonic expression. I think that's what it stands for. I may be wrong. Somebody correct me in the chat if I am. And this is what I consider the keyboard of the future. It's a superior synthesizer controller to a traditional keyboard. And the reason I say that is because, well, for one, I'm a bass player, and the way it's set up, it's in fourths like this, and chromatic this way, which means it respects the shapes that I'm used to on the bass or the first four strings of a guitar. As far as making scales, right? So I could already, when I met Roger Lynn and he demoed this for me at Synthplex in 2000, I want to say 2019. In fact, this unit is signed by him. It's kind of faded, but yeah, there's a silver Sharpie signature from Roger Lynn there. And something about this patch is acting a little strange. First, another thing I love about the instrument, well, I was telling you that it measures, well, for one thing, it's in fourths and chromatic, so it's got the shapes of a fingerboard, right? So for me, it's perfect. I could already play it. First time I touched this thing, it was very intuitive for me. Also, it different from a normal keyboard, which is basically buttons where you can, you can determine the speed, the velocity, and some keyboards are also have aftertouch or polyphonic aftertouch, so you can apply some pressure to them. But that's it. You have up and down motion, so I can roll my finger. I can roll my finger up and down. I can roll my finger side to side for a vibrato. Right. We'll change the patch in a bit. I think this patch isn't really doing it justice. Here's the patches on the. I'm gonna just load default. And we're gonna go into maybe MIDI device, and yeah, the instrument is already chosen. Look, it already has an instrument. It has an instrument. It has keyboard or instrument already. So cool. So there are CC sources here, and poly pressure is already assigned to A, and CC74 is already assigned to B. So if I go here, it's another thing I love about the instrument is that you don't need a computer to set it up. There's a menu up here all around it, and you can press different buttons here to set different things up, and you have to be looking at a manual or a computer screen to know what you're doing. And so all the whole matrix, the whole pad matrix, then becomes a controller. So here we have bend range at 24, which is probably what we want. Let's see. Yeah, that's about right. And I'm sorry you're seeing this with the lag. It's the GoPro, wireless GoPro going into the iPad from the iPad to QuickTime on the computer. So I'll try to fix this when we edit this video into something smaller and more straightforward later. Anyway, so one thing that you do is set up the pitch bend range so it's adequate for the instrument. Pitch quantize, maybe you would want it to be hold fast. Now timbre here is the up and down, the Y motion on, and it's set to on and CC1, CC74. So correct. And loudness is the aftertouch, right? Is the pressure you apply to each note. So here we have it. It's on, and we have poly pressure. Is that what we want? We want poly pressure. That's what it says on the panel here. So already, now pitch bend says +3 -3. I don't know what that means there. Also, I think this. Let's go back to control certain things here. I think settings, display, screensaver is 10 seconds is way too quick. So I'm gonna set it for 2 minutes so that doesn't go to the screensaver so quickly, right? So as easy as that, I've set up my instrument to be the controller for the Steampipe. So the Steampipe itself already has a instrument set up. I'm sure you can use other, not sure, I know other MPE style controllers, as well as other, for example, I have a Hydra synth over here. It's kind of hidden away, but that thing has polyphonic aftertouch. So I know I have friends that use that instead of an instrument to great effect with the Steampipe. Okay, let's put it here. And the Steampipe is based on a Carpus Strong synthesis, which is the basic synthesis known as physical modeling. So it's very different from your traditional oscillator, filter, VCA kind of a thing. Oh, hold on. It seems like for some reason I hit stop stream. So it's very different from your traditional oscillator, filter, VCA kind of a thing. Hold on here. Yeah, sorry folks, I'm having a little bit of difficulty here today. By the way, I just blew away a whole bunch of little poops I found on my table, and I thought that I had mice in my studio until I looked up and realized, I don't know if you can see it, there's a big old bat sleeping up in my roof. See that little thing, little furry thing up there? So yeah, if I start getting a little crazy, that's probably, I'm literally batshit crazy because I am breathing the fumes from guano. I don't think it's enough really to affect me, to be honest. But hold on, let's go back to settings here, display. Yeah, I did change to 2 minutes. It just seemed like it went too fast again. All right, so cool. All right, I'm a little scatterbrained right now. Sorry, folks. So as you can see, when I apply pressure, it changes certain parameters. And when I move my finger vertically, well, maybe not right now. There's nothing really assigned to the vertical movement, it seems, in this patch. But already, this sounds very interesting. And here's the cool thing. Is that, let's let's transpose up an octave here. Since this is sending MIDI, one channel per note, and here's the per note channels, it's sending it to 8 different MIDI channels, right? This means that every time I hit a note, it's sending that note over a different MIDI channel out of the 16 MIDI channels that are available, right? So the cool thing about that is that, for example, pitch bend is per channel. So normally you play a keyboard and you apply the pitch bend, like you roll that pitch bend, it'll move all of the notes that you're playing. So if you're playing a chord, and you go up a step, that whole chord will be exposed up a step with the pitch bend, right? Now, if you're sending one note per channel, which is how MIDI guitars used to work too, so that you could bend one guitar note separately. The sideways movement here on the surface will send pitch bend data only to that note's channel. The other notes are going to different channels, are not being affected. So check it out. I can play a chord and then move only one note, bend only one note of that chord. Right, sorry. That was a little bit harsh on the ears. How's the pitch? Quantize and hold. We want quantize and hold so that it helps me be in tune here, because this thing can actually be like a fretless instrument, right? Like a cello. So if I use quantize and hold, it kind of helps me be in tune a little bit. I can still wiggle and do vibrato. Hey girls, come say hi to the chat. These are my daughters. This is Yara. No, this is Nina. And this is Yara. I see you inverted there. That's why I got you confused. What's up, girls? How can I help you today?
Are we going? Mali said we're going somewhere.
Oh, we're gonna go get mom, but I said at 1:30, not it's I'm just starting my live stream. So in about an hour,
Where
okay?
Are
We're gonna go get mom and then go to Coyoacan.
in Starbucks. What are we gonna do in
What were we gonna do?
We'll get
We're gonna go to the ice skating place and maybe ride the go-karts.
Okay.
Okay?
Sí, entonces quedaros a cambiar el vestido.
What?
¿Quiere llevar?
No, está muy bien así. Okay.
Bye.
Wow, you girls are very well dressed. You're ready. Ready to have a nice day. Today is Cinco de Mayo, which here in Mexico, it is a holiday. It's not nearly as important as Americans seem to think. It's not Mexican independence. Hi, Vianza de Vata. Vianza de Vata. Have I pronounced your name correctly? I hope so. Yes, this is pretty insane stuff, isn't it? So today I thought we would do like a ambient, cinematic ambient kind of song to change the vibe up a little bit. I've been doing lots of like groove and pop oriented music, but I'm also a film composer and an experimental musician. I like to be on the cutting edge. I have very narrow relationships directly with a lot of developers of some of the most cutting edge electronic music instruments out there. And that's something we should take advantage of and experiment. And since this is my own music library, I don't have to fulfill the expectations and requirements of traditional music libraries. We can do stuff that is more unique and interesting. And I have found out that there is a demand, and there are people who like that stuff to use for their videos. So the traditional and interesting music in their libraries, we're not going to miss out. We're going to have that in humanmusic.org. By the way, we already settled on a logo for humanmusic.org. Very excited about that. The website should be moving forward nicely, and I'm looking forward to unveiling the humanmusic.org website, where these songs will be hosted for you to download freely and use in your creations. And yeah, it's going to be a website, the home for those of us who value the human touch, the in art and music, and that's what these live streams are all about too. They're about sharing my process as I use my human brain and my human hands and real instruments to create hopefully what is engaging, exciting, and emotive music for any particular use that you might have for it. So anyway, that was my ad read that I improvised just now for my own project called Human Music. And so I was talking about how you can pitch bend notes separately, right? So let me play. Right, I'm playing a chord here. I can bend just one note. Right, and that's what's cool. One of the cool things. Another cool thing is that many times the aftertouch is also global. So if you do aftertouch on one note when you're holding a chord on the keyboard, then all of them will be affected. Here, I can weigh in notes more or less with my fingers, and the notes will respond to that. I can do vibrato more independently, so it's much more expressive. That's why I consider this the evolution of the traditional keyboard. It's also smaller, more portable, lighter. Right, it works with MIDI DIN and USB. It has strap buttons so that you can actually. I think that's kind of cheesy though. Like, it looks even cheesier than using a keytar to strap this on your body, and have it on you. I think it's definitely more of a desktop. Amazing for when I'm producing. Like, I try to play real instruments, right? When I can. For example, I have a cello. However, I'm not a very proficient cello player. For some things, it works great. Like if I'm doing notes, sustained notes with vibrato, and then I use the bow to hit harmonics and do kind of effects with the cello, or even play simple melodies that I can then run through Melodyne to make sure they're in tune. That all works. It's a lot of work, but I can also use the audio modeling. It's just a software company from Italy. I can use their Swarm instruments, which are also set up perfectly to be, and then I can do articulation things that the keyboard won't allow, such as crescendo, right, with the pressure, such as very natural sounding vibrato that's being done by wiggling the fingers as you would on a cello fingerboard, and glissandi, which is when you slide between notes, right? And I can do that also manually by literally sliding my finger between one note and another. So and I have quite a few of the Swam instruments from audio. Oh man, my dogs are going a little crazy over there. I hope the noise reducer on my little podcast mixer is doing a good job of cutting out their madness. I have 6 female dogs in this house, and when a cat walks outside or another dog, they go a little crazy. So this is physical modeling. So this is meant to use principles of physical sound generation to create sound rather than your traditional oscillator filter, VCA, LFO kind of setup, right? So the parameters that you have on the Steampipe are completely different and completely unique. And it is a digital machine and it's polyphonic, but the beauty of it is that pretty much all of the sound generation controls are knob per function on the panel. So there's no menu diving really. You can go right ahead and start turning stuff and hear how each knob affects the sound. And I've studied a bit of what they do in the manual, what they're meant to do. So I have a little bit of an idea. I still need to study, practice on this instrument way more, but I guess that's part of what this live stream is about. It's me getting more acquainted with the Steampipe, um, as this is an excuse to explore it more, right? And that's what we're going to try to do today. Okay, so I've been talking for a while and haven't made any sounds. I've already opened up a Pro Tools session here. This Pro Tools session has is the template that I use always, which means it has all the drum tracks already in it, right? For the microphones on my physical acoustic drum set that's back there. Now I might do some cymbal swells. I don't think I'm gonna do beats for this song. I think this should be definitely a more ambient, you know, thing. So I don't know. Let's maybe start with something. I also have the Euro rack over there. Should probably turn it on. I have some really cool oscillators. For example, things from like I have the new resonance filter bank from Erica Synths. I think we need to do a whole show about just that resonator actually, because that thing is amazing. We're not going to be able to do all that today. In fact, this might be one of two or three lives for this one song. I don't think we're going to get it all done in one day. But anyway, let me turn on the Euro rack so that it starts warming up. And hold on, my mother is coming tomorrow to Mexico. She lives in Brazil because it's going to be my 50th birthday on May 13th, folks. Believe it or not, I'm going to be 50 years old. And she's coming for my birthday. It's going to be spend a couple weeks here. We're going to go to the beach for a weekend. Not this weekend, but the next one. And she just wants to make sure I'll be there at the airport to pick her up tomorrow, which I will. Just told her I will. Okay. So, how should we start? Maybe we should start with the Steampipe since it's already here. I would probably bring up the cello. Here's another fun toy that we might want to use for this. This is my Continuum Mini from Haycom. So this has the whole sound engine of a real full-size Haycom. Haycom or Haycom? Haycom, right? Or Haken? Haken Das. So this thing has the whole Egan matrix, which is the synthesis engine of Hayken. So there's amazing presets here. A lot of them are actually based on physical modeling as well, just like the Steampipe. And it also has a very expressive ribbon control surface. So this is I consider it in the neighborhood, in the domain of the Steampipe as well. So it might be interesting to have a layer of that too. So cool. So today, very, very fun and exciting stuff happening here. All right, so let's go ahead and start. I'm not going to need a click. We're not going to do beat stuff. So I'm going to hide the click and make it active. And I'm going to start by creating a stereo track, audio track. I'm not going to use any MIDI, I don't think either. All of today is going to be done old school style, as if Pro Tools was just a tape recorder and the mixer. And so this is going to be the Steam 1, right? Now, let's fiddle with this preset. This is the default preset. We don't want to use the default preset, do we? I mean, this thing has so many knobs, so let's fiddle around and try to find a cool sound to start with, right? I mean, this is already pretty cool. It sounds like a wind instrument. Cool thing is there's like even the overblowing of a flute, like when you blow too much, you go up to a different harmonic. That you can simulate this with the Steampipe. It's really, really cool. So let's play around with some knobs here. I'm sorry, I don't have like an overhead cam to really be able to show you very precisely what I'm doing, but I'll try to narrate, okay? So, for example, at the envelope section, obviously you have your attack, decay, sustain, and release. So already I've given myself a little release there, which sounds really nice. So now I think it's an 8-voice synthesizer. So it'll hold up to 8 notes. Oh, you should be seeing me perform this right on the. This thing is an amazing reverb right here, which I can open up the spread of and make it bigger too. Look, the size function. This is the size of the reverb. It has kind of a pitch shifting effect, like on a delay when I modulate it manually. So already this note right here sounds really nice. Let's go down an octave and see what happens. Already I like this sound, but I feel like we should still play around with a little more just to. So there's key tracking, right? I think the key tracking on the envelope is I may be wrong. Somebody who knows more about the Steampipe may correct me. But I think it's to simulate, like for example, when you're playing a wind instrument, you play low notes, the attack is slower. When you play high notes, the attack is faster. So maybe. So there's more noise. It's more noise, right? More white noise into the sound. So it's more like when you're blowing softly into a flute rather than actually making the tube vibrate. It sounds nice as well. See? In fact, modulating, turning this knob in real time. It also like affects which harmonic is actually vibrating in the tube. See? That sounds really cool. I should be recording maybe all of this, even though I'm just playing around, right? Why not? Let's just assign the input then. This is 7 and 8, input 7 and 8. We want low latency monitoring. I usually like to have heat enabled, no delay compensation, and heat enabled. Heat is Pro Tools' little system where it kind of simulates tape and old school mixer sound. So it's kind of like the Harrison Mix Bus idea. Wait a minute. Oh no, we don't want mic line 7 and 8. We want ADAT 7 and 8. This is going into my ADAT interface. Right. So I'm gonna hit record here and we'll record our little experimentation just in case we stumble upon something beautiful. We won't miss out on it. You know, that's a good idea in general in production, folks, when you're, you know, even if you're recording like a musician warming up or something, why not just record everything. Record everything. If you don't use it, you don't use it. Throw it out, clean up the session later. But if you pick up magic, then you'll be so thankful that you've been recording the whole time. So here we go. So here I'm turning the DC noise. There's a filter. This is the cutoff of a filter here. In fact, if I bring the noise higher with the filter, you hear more of the... Right? Maybe we didn't need so much release. Well, no, leave it. Right, there's also a one pole button here. And there's an external button as well in case you want to use an external sound source as part of the generator here, which you can do, which makes sense for Carpus Strong. You can use an external exciter like some other noise source or pulse. Wow, I'm really loving bringing the DC noise manually down and up. And then we can have the resonance parameter on the filter here and then turn down the cutoff. And of course, this is more like a traditional synthesizer when you do that. Wow, that sounds super cool. I'm playing fifths here on the instrument, by the way. This is the shape for 2 stacked fifths. Let's turn on the one pole again. You hear how that sounds different. Yeah, I'm not quite hearing much difference yet from doing that. There's key tracking too, and the key tracking on a filter. This means that the filter will open more for higher notes and less for lower notes, which also simulates like a real instrument, right? So you can have like pretty filtered sound, but when you play a high note, it won't just disappear. The filter will open up to let those high notes. And it's also envelope amount here. This is how much of that envelope section is affecting the overall sound. And here's a gain. And I think the gain doesn't just affect volume. It probably pushes into the saturation circuit as well. We have a saturation. Now we're moving on to the third row of knobs here. And there's a feedback. 3 little knobs on the feedback section over here. One of them is called push. And as I understand it, the push parameter in particular seems to affect that overblowing idea, right, of a wind instrument that you can achieve from the same note, achieve different harmonics of it. There's decay and release for that feedback. Let's turn down the gain a bit. Sounding so nice. I'm feeling like this whole little exploration is already like almost a piece. Now I'm just modulating the size of the reverb here, and you get this little pitch thing. Lovely, lovely. We have a lot of reverb going on. This machine makes you... Reverb is so nice that it's kind of like almost inevitable to drown yourself in a wash of reverb here. But I can turn it down all the way, and this is what it sounds like without reverb. Still sounds very washy because we have a lot of release on the envelope, right? If I turn down the release, now I have this very dry sound. Now I can turn the reverb back up. There's the spin parameter of the reverb as well, which I think has to do with its stereo behavior. Right, let's bring that release back. I was enjoying having these long decays. Oh man, thank you, Erica Santos, for sending me this. This thing sounds so cool. Also treble and bass here on the reverb, so you can make it less muddy, right? If you bring down some of the bass, and now the reverb is higher frequencies. These are basically filters for the reverb. Oh. Now there's also an LFO here. Choose the shape, speed, and delay of the LFO. But right now I don't think it's being applied to anything, right? Now here's another filter. Down here, it's high pass and low pass filters for the overall sound. So these are different, separate. So there's 3 filters, as far as I can tell, on this machine already. Now one of them is in the generator. This one is like a overall post filter. And then there's the filters for the reverb. Oh, it's so nice to have knobs to fiddle with this stuff instead of like a traditional. There have been synths with this sort of idea before. I think there's a Yamaha rack unit that was meant to be used with their UEs, the wind controllers. And those have similar parameters and you can achieve similar sounds to them. But you know how those old Yamaha synthesizers were. You'd have to like find the parameter on the display and then move it and then go to a different parameter. Here we have everything right in front of us and we can just move knobs around. Now, we were looking at feedback, right? So we have push, decay, and release. Now there's saturation too. Over here, these 2 knobs are saturation. And there are 2 controls, soft and hard. So it can go from soft saturation to hard saturation. And I think here the gain probably affects it directly. Here's an overall volume control. On my unit it says mod control, but I'm aware that That's from a previous iteration. This is a prototype, but I do have the current firmware on it, so the knob does what it's supposed to do on production units. And then there's a symmetry control here on the saturation as well. Which I'm honestly not hearing too much of what it does. So who's in the chat? Say hi. Feedback here, I put the release pretty high, and now when I let go of the key, it almost gets louder. It's having an interesting effect to it. See, this is like noise, and then when I let go, you get the actual note. There's the delay box. Now the delay is the actual the delay in combination with the generator are what makes the oscillation, right? The generator is creating what the exciter, whatever is initiates the sound, but the delay box is what's making it cycle. Because in Carplus Strong, the idea is you can use a single little pluck, which would just sound like a pluck. But once you make it repeat at audio rate, it becomes a note, right? So that's what the delay box here is. So there's a fine, there's a harmonics control, there's a split point control, there's a polarity button and a split button. So the tune is so that you can adjust, because a lot of parameters affect the tuning of the synthesizer. So you can correct that by using the tune parameter, right? So if I were to turn on some kind of pitch reference, I don't have any right now. I guess I could use the Yamaha keyboard with its built-in speakers, and just hear it from there we go. This is a C note, right? So if I so I've just retuned the Steampipe to reflect the actual pitches, right? So that's very cool. Very cool. And then it's a nice exploration of this synthesizer. Sometimes it's fun to not even necessarily be very conscious about what you're doing, and just sort of play around with it. this little shape I'm doing here on the instrument, what is it, right? Well, this would be the root note, and then this would be the octave of it. So if I'm playing this one, I'm playing the minor seventh, right? And this is 1/4 up. And so a fourth up from the minor seventh is the octave of the minor third, see? So when I play this shape, I'm playing a minor seventh chord without the fifth. So nice. Now look, I'm using the high pass, and it's cutting out like most of the body of the sound. That sounds so cool. Oh, it looks like the GoPro's out of battery. Good thing I have another one fully charged right here, just waiting for this moment. Okay. So why don't we go ahead and find the sound. I think I might go back to the original sound. And just make a few more conscious modifications to it. Notice. Oh, it turned off because it was too hot. Not because the battery was low. GoPro got too hot, folks. Well, let's see if it can continue now. And if not, we'll turn the Sony cam towards the Steampipe so you can see me. It's more important for you to see the Steampipe than my beautiful face, right? So who's here? Who's at the chat? Say hi. I wonder if Vyansa Devata and Wave Exploring Engine are still hanging out. Or have you moved on, folks? This is the C. Oh, and there's like a minor 6 happening there. There's a fine tune here too. There's a tune button here. I wonder what this tune button does. Oh, haha, check it out. The tune button shows. Shows you like a screen with a tune parameter, which I'm not sure yet how it works very well. Let's see. Low pass compensation, high pass compensation. So there's. So yeah, these filters over here, they really do affect the pitch. And there's a drift and glide. Glide parameter makes you, it's like a portamento. it on, and there's a glide time parameter control. This thing's amazing, amazing, amazing. So let's turn off the glide for now. And maybe attack a little faster here. Like if I were to hold like a G note, so something here is affecting the tuning. Something with the velocity, like when I push in, you know what, why don't we go turn off the tune screen here. And okay, we've had a good night's exploration. There's harmonics. Oh, we were talking about the delay box. So there's tune, there's fine, and then there's harmonics. And there's split point. Which I think this is for the overblowing. Like at which point does it change harmonics? Right. I think that's what was changing. What note when I was playing stronger or softer. So here's the C. Yeah, it's more or less in tune now. There you go. So why don't we maybe just start with one low note, which could be a G. It'll be nice to play my fretless bass over this and maybe a cello later. Let's make it more noisy. Less gainy. We should let the low notes happen there. And then we can play around with the generator here. We can play around with DC noise. Versus, well, at this point is how, like, DC is just the click triggering it, right? And noise is the noise being the generator. And then there's the filter. Letting that noise come through or not. Try to play the octaves here. Kind of like play with the pressure between the two notes, and then modulate the DAT noise parameter for a while. Okay. So I'm going to stop the recording. Already there's a ton of really cool stuff here that we recorded, right? And what I'm going to do is I could just change playlists, but then it would hide. It would hide all this beautifulness. So I'm going to call this the raw Steam. Created a new track called raw Steam. And I'm just going to mute it and move this long recording over there. Let's see. See if my wife is ready for me to go pick her up. And mm, sorry about that, folks. Yeah, I'm just seeing if my wife is done with her appointment. She's a doctor. She's seeing the patient. When she's done, I'll be bringing the girls over so we can enjoy our afternoon of Cinco de Mayo. But I think we should definitely at least record the first layer of our composition here. So this is going to be a G note, and I'm just going to kind of try to modulate some parameters in real time, and that'll be a first layer, and then maybe we'll do the second layer with the Continuum Mini, and then tomorrow we'll bring out the cello and the fretless bass and the modular synthesizer and things like that, and create something really nice. Maybe we'll do some atmospheric percussion, some like shamanic seeds and drum swells, things like cymbal swells, things like that. This is going to be fun. This is going to be a fun one. I love to make these tracks. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit record. All right. Well, that was about 10 minutes long, but I have a feeling I kind of know where it starts getting good. Like at first, I was still sort of kind of fiddling around and I would get into a nice place and then kind of screw it up by missing the tuning. So a number of things. But I think about from here to here, which is how long? Let's choose the minutes and seconds bar here. Yeah, 3:22. But this should be longer than most songs. Like usually the pop songs are about 3:20, 3.5 or so. This is ambient cinematic. It should probably be between 4 and 5 minute long song. I might be able to also splice it together. Like if there's a section I don't like, I could probably cut it off and then put two pieces together, either in separate channels or crossfade them. So um, let's go ahead and do one more take, but this time I'm going to use the Continuum Mini. We'll find a nice patch on the Continuum Mini. Uh-oh, the only problem is the cable I need for the Continuum Mini. Um, where do I have it? I need like a little stereo cable. It's okay. I can find one quickly and easily. Hold on. Here we go. That was pretty fast. And so now, yeah, just so, let me just check if my wife has. No, she has not yet written to me. So I think we have time for one more layer. I'm going to plug this in to channel 5 and 6 here. We're going to turn down the volume on the Steampipe and turn up the volume on the Continuum Mini. And here it is. You're not looking at it, are you? There you go. Maybe I can bring the camera a little closer. Yeah. Or even like this way. There we go. Okay. So this is the Haken Continuum Mini. Let's open up a new track on Pro Tools here. Oops. No, we don't want this one. We want it to be stereo. And we want to call it the Continuum Mini. Or just Continuum 1. And we're going to assign inputs. The same inputs because it's going into a little mixer that I have here that's going into 8.7 and 8. So now this is one preset. Sounds really nice, but I think we need something. And I have a little joystick here for the vertical movement. Something about the Continuum Mini is a little off. Maybe it got dusty inside or something. She likes reading two notes when I'm only playing one. Doesn't this thing sound cool? I love this thing. I should use it way more. Octave down. Yeah, it is acting a little strange though, see? Like, that shouldn't happen. Maybe if I take the little joystick out. Yeah, maybe it just needs a little cleanup. I don't know. Should I blow air into it? I don't know if that did anything. Just the joystick back on, it didn't seem to do anything to take it off. And let's find another preset. Maybe we can... like a more continuous cello-like thing. This is kind of nice. Like a flute-like thing. Let's bring it down an octave. There's something about the sensor that's a little off. I'm gonna have to reach out to my friends at Heiken and show them a video. Maybe there's something they can tell me what to do, or maybe it needs a little service. Who knows? I like the stereo on this guy. This is the G right here. This kind of sounds cool. I don't know if it's what I want though. Yeah, something about it is not quite right. It's like re-triggering. It's like re-triggering. It's not meant to. Weird. No, it's not the preset yet. Oh man, that's annoying. That's really disappointing. Really disappointing. yeah, I'm sure they'll know what to tell me to do. Maybe it just needs to be cleaned, or it feels like it's something mechanical, physical wrong with the sensor. Either that, or I can just ship it to them and they will send me a replacement or something. We'll see. But yeah, that means I'm not really comfortable using it right now, folks. I'm so sorry. I think I wasted all of our time trying to use the Continuum Mini right now. It's I need to make a video to show the Haken people what's going on and see what they tell me. So I'll be back tomorrow. We're just gonna leave it at the at this at the Steampipe take for now. Sounding really nice. There's some great moments in there. You know, I'm sure I could just cut a piece of that take and it would be already. It would be a nice cinematic ambient piece that would work by itself. But that would be no fun, right? We want to have more fun. We want to add some more layers to it. Probably a real acoustic cello that I'll play, a little bit of fretless bass, a little bit of modular synthesizer, a little bit of ambient acoustic percussions, and then that should be enough. And we'll do all of that tomorrow. So thanks again for everyone who's joined today, and I'll see you soon. Stay human. Bye bye.